Thank you for joining us today. My name is Kelly Broom, Community Relations Manager at the NewRoads Automotive Group, and I will now take you through some housekeeping items and our land acknowledgement. During our celebration, kindly keep your microphones on mute and in speaker view. If you have experienced low or slow internet, try turning your video screens off. This often improves things. We acknowledge that the NewRoads Centre for Performing Arts in the town of Newmarket is located on the traditional territories of the Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Anishinaabe peoples and the treaty land of the Willem Treaties First Nations and other Indigenous peoples whose presence here continues to this day. We thank them for sharing this land with us. We also acknowledge the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation as our close neighbors and friends, and we work to ensure a cooperative and respectful relationship. It is my pleasure to welcome to the NewRoads virtual stage, President and CEO of the NewRoads Automotive Group, Michael Croxon.
Thanks, Kelly, and good afternoon, everybody. As Kelly said, my name is Michael Croxon. I'm the President and CEO of the NewRoads Automotive Group. It's nice to see you all, even if just virtually. It wouldn't be International Women's Day and a celebration of such if Jackie Plater wasn't wearing a sequin top, and I note Jackie's wearing a sequin top and looking as great as ever. Nice to see you, Jackie. Thank you, and also note that our Mayor, John Taylor, is with us. John, nice to see you as always, and thanks for taking the time to participate. NewRoads is really delighted to welcome you virtually, obviously, to the NewRoads Performing Arts Centre for this celebration. We are adhering to public health guidelines, and sadly, we cannot come together as we typically do. I was reminiscing with my group yesterday, as a matter of fact, that I think the last time I got together in any large group was a year ago at our celebration, which we managed to hold at the Performing Arts Centre. But sadly, that can't be so today. But I'd like to thank the Newmarket Chamber of Commerce for their ongoing work in the community and the partnership in today's celebration of women. 2021 International Women's Day mission is a challenged world is an alert world, and from challenge comes change. We are adhering to, today we celebrate women's achievement, raise awareness against bias, and take action for equality. Something that's personally very near and dear to my heart as a husband and a father of 3 young daughters. Before we get started, we have these great celebration boxes that I think everybody received. And hoping you, along with me, have pre-poured a drink. I noticed this just as I was reviewing my notes, that I was to pre-pour a drink of sparkling wine and or orange juice. This could set up a very interesting afternoon. And I'd like to make a toast to all of you gathered here today. So let's raise a cumulative glass to all the women in our lives and those being recognized here today. Cheers. I'd like to now introduce Kyle Burgess, Chair of the Newmarket Chamber of Commerce and a senior lawyer with Minkin Employment Lawyers, to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Michael. Welcome, everyone. I'm pleased to be a part of this celebration that recognizes the achievements of women in our community. I would like to thank our partners and sponsors, of course, who have made this event possible. First and foremost, NewRoads Automotive Group and RBC Royal Bank. I would also like to recognize York Region Business Enterprise Centre, Upper Canada, and a Million Mouthfuls. Additionally, we have some dignitaries in attendance with us here today. Michael already acknowledged that Mayor John Taylor is here with us. Mayor Taylor, great to see you. Town of Newmarket Regional Councillor Tom Vey is with us as well. And we also have a few of the Town of Newmarket's councillors. Jane Twinney is with us, Victor Woodhouse, Christina Bazans, and Kelly Broom is also with us. Also, we have some of our board members in attendance as well. Shauna Fardy from Sun Life Financial, Jim Van Duzen, also from NewRoads Automotive Group. And lastly, we'd also like to recognize in attendance is our past president and CEO of the Chamber, Deborah Scott. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here today on this very important and special occasion. I would now like to turn things over to our co-hosts this afternoon, Kelly Broom, who is the Community Relations Manager for NewRoads Automotive Group, and Tracy Walter, the President and CEO of the Newmarket Chamber of Commerce.
I am very proud and truly grateful that 100% of today's ticket sales will be going to the Women's Center of York Region. I've been a proud supporter and a volunteer at the Women's Center for the past 11 years. The center has been doing work here in York Region since 1977. The WCYR offers unique programming and services that address a range of circumstances from women in need of positive change, from counseling supports for abuse, domestic or otherwise, career exploration, making changes, and financial empowerment. At the Women's Center, our goal is to fully support each woman on her personal journey of discovery, encouraging her to fully thrive. On behalf of our brave clients, amazing staff, incredible volunteers and board of directors, we are very grateful for opportunities like today to shine a light on continuing to help support our mission to help keep her safe. If you would like to learn more about the Women's Center of York Region and sponsor a woman and her family today, visit wcyr.ca. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge a few people joining us today. From the Women's Center of York Region Board Chair, Judith Puttock, Kathy and John Ostheim, and our Program and Fund Development Manager, Allison Herman. I would also like to thank our town staff who made today possible. Charles Kaiser, Janet Raponi, and Jonathan Juffs. I would also like to thank the entire team at the Newmarket Chamber of Commerce, and specifically Roseanne Antunes and Tyler Netkiff, and from their video team who did all the amazing videos you're going to see today, Jennifer Buchanan. I would also like to take an opportunity to thank Tracy for her willingness to combine this year's event.
Thanks, Kelly. It's good to be here with you, and combining the events makes perfect sense. It feels so weird to be looking at an almost empty auditorium today. The Newmarket Chamber of Commerce has been celebrating International Women's Day for 14 years. The Global Day, which was yesterday, celebrates the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women around the world. It also marks a call to action for accelerating women's equality. While we can't gather in person today, we are happy that we're still able to celebrate with all of you. I want to talk about the video that we ran at the beginning of this event, and I hope that you all had a chance to see it as we were entering the Zoom call. All across the world, there are a number of women leading nations and many women leaders actively supporting our community. Women are taking their place in leadership, and we celebrate those significant strides toward gender equality. We believe that the best is yet to come. I would now like to introduce Vivian Hotam, small business consultant, planning and economic development, corporate services for the region of York, and a partner in today's event, to join us on Zoom to say a few words. Vivian?
Thank you, Tracy. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us join into the Women in Business Celebration event this afternoon. My name is Vivian Hotam. As Tracy mentioned, I'm a small business consultant at the York Region Small Business Enterprise Center. The York Small Business Enterprise Center is proud to be a partner in this event. We're funded in part by the Province of Ontario's Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, and managed by the Region of Municipality of York's Economic Strategy Division. The York Small Business Enterprise Center, otherwise known as YSBEC, is a small business resource center based in Newmarket, and we serve the northern 6 municipalities of York Region: Aurora, East Gwillimbury, Georgina, King, Newmarket, and Wiltshire-Stouffville. Our office is dedicated into providing support to both new startups and existing small businesses that with services that include free consultation, resources, business planning, development, seminars and workshops, and the delivery of entrepreneurship programs such as Summer Company and Starter Company Plus. We also have a dedicated COVID-19 resource page on our website to help you with navigating the many funding programs that are available for your business during these difficult times. Feel free to head over to our website at www.yorksmallbusiness.ca for more information, and feel free to reach out to our office if you need any assistance with your small business. Thank you again, Tracy, for having us, and thank you for all the partners.
Thanks, Vivian. We appreciate you being here. I just wanted to now get on to the fun part of the event. So we want to be able to recognize how much visiting with each other is a big part of this event. And while normally we would be able to do that while mingling with a drink and hugging each other, we can't this year, but we have a lot of fun on Zoom with the networking. So there's going to be some breakout rooms. So if you haven't done this before, basically what happens is Tyler, our behind the scenes maestro, is going to split us into rooms of about 5 people each. So there's going to be around 20 rooms going on. You'll randomly get put into a room with 4 other people, and it's just our chance to visit. And we'll have a couple of rounds of that as we start. So what you're going to see is it's going to invite you to join a breakout room. You just hit join and it'll bring you into the room. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. I know it's not the same as wandering around and saying hello to everyone, but it's still a chance to say hello to each other. We're now going to get started with our speakers. And first up, I want to thank RBC Royal Bank. We are so pleased to partner with them each year. RBC was our founding partner in this event back in 2007, and they've been involved in this event every year since. Longer than I have, actually. I would like to welcome Valerie Elise Munn, Regional Vice President, 404 Corridor Market, RBC Royal Bank, onto Zoom. So Valerie, if you unmute to say a few words and to introduce our first speaker. Valerie?
All right, thank you, Tracy. And good afternoon, welcome everyone. Can you hear me? Perfect. All right, I just got confirmation. So good afternoon, my name is Valerie Munn, Regional Vice President at RBC in the York region, and I'm so glad that you've joined us for this very special event today. Yesterday was International Women's Day, and I don't know how many of you would know this, but we've been recognizing this day for over 100 years. And this means that for over 100 years, we've celebrated the incredible achievements of women around the world. But it's also given us the opportunity to challenge ourselves on how we can help achieve greater gender equality. So women today are working hard to dismantle barriers and break the status quo. And in fact, women are more financially independent than ever. But we know that this didn't come without courage and determination of extraordinary girls, women, and allies making an impact in the world. I have to say, I'm personally so proud to work for an organization that believes in the importance of diversity and believes that diversity really does matter. And this year, RBC's theme for International Women's Day is "You Can Change the World." So why you can change the world? This is because we want to encourage everyone to pause and reflect on how we can adopt attitudes and approaches that will create a more inclusive culture. So this theme of "You Can Change the World" is also a reminder for each of us that every day we can play a role and seize the moment to speak up for inclusion, because celebrating diversity is both the smart thing to do, but it's also the right thing to do. So I'd like to thank you for having me today. And now I have the great pleasure to introduce you our keynote speaker for today, who's going to share her personal journey and how she sees the moment to change the world around her. She's a self-proclaimed accidental cleaning expert, and that's because she hates to clean. So in 2006, at age 24, she launched Clean My Space, a cleaning service in her hometown of Toronto to help out people just like her. And in 2011, she decided to create a digital content to help drive bookings by launching the Clean My Space, a YouTube channel. Since then, the channel has accumulated over 200 million, I should say, video views and over 1.7 million subscribers, along with a healthy Instagram following and busy website. She also founded a microfiber cleaning tools company in 2016 called Makers Clean. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Melissa Marker.
First, let me start off by saying you all look fabulous from what I've seen in the breakout rooms and what I see here. Everyone I know is very excited to be at this event, myself included. First time I've put a dress on in about a year, so thank you. So today, in honor of celebrating women in business and our ingenuity and our ability to overcome challenges, I'm going to share a story with you about a girl who found a business in doing something she absolutely hated to do, and then turned it into a little bit of an empire. So when I was 24 years old, I was struggling to find joy in my first job out of university. I had a very junior position working at a bank, and I had graduated from the Schulich School of Business at York. And I didn't know what to do. I was in a predicament because the voice that was in the back of my head telling me to start my own business, that had been there my whole life, was actually just getting a lot louder the longer and longer I was in my new job, fresh out of university. You should also know that at this time, I met a guy on only the classiest of dating websites, Plenty of Fish. And he had his own business at the time, and we chatted as we started dating, and he said to me, I really think that you should leave your job and start a company. And of course I listened to him because I was in love and it sounded like a really good idea. But also he was right. And fast forward 15 years later, why do I feel like I'm getting choked up? He's my husband and it worked out, but we're gonna get to that in a little bit. So I took the leap, and I think that's something many of you can probably be right there with me on. You know what it's like to leave something that you're comfortable doing, somewhere that you're comfortable, something that you're good at, for the chance of something that you have no clue about working out, for a business that you're about to start working out. And that's what I did. I figured I'll quit my job, I'll figure out what type of business to start, but frankly, anything at this point is better than not following my calling. It was just a huge burden lifted when I decided to make that choice. So when I told my parents that I was going to quit my secure job to figure out my life and start a business, they were a little annoyed. They for sure blamed a lot of it on the new boyfriend, but I think somewhere deep down they also knew that it would work out, because I was that kid that always wanted to start businesses. I'd be the kid in the neighborhood coming up with like questionable products and services to sell to other kids in my classroom and neighborhood. And I think my parents always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur, and I did too. So what I did was I applied for a job at the Richmond Hill Keg, and I decided that I would make money that way and try to figure out what kind of business to start. Well, I was selling perfectly grilled steaks. So each night I'd go to work, I would tie my tie, and I would ask the universe to send me a very clear neon sign, like an irrefutable message about the type of business that I should start. And within 3 months of my steak gig, I figured it out. So what happened was, I kept hearing people talk about, and I'm talking like friends, families, guests at the Keg. I would read things, hear things on TV, hear things in passing. People kept saying that they were having a tough time keeping their homes clean, but they really wanted a clean home, and they couldn't find a good, reliable person to do the job. And it was just this maxim that kept repeating itself. I want a clean space, I just don't want to do it myself. And I was like, yeah, I get that, because I hate cleaning too. I mean, it's not just a thing. I really hate cleaning. I lived at home at the time, and I would like keep tally of if my sister emptied the garbage less than me, and then I would kind of go on strike. My bedroom was a mess. I always put up a fight with my mom whenever she asked for me to help out with cleaning around the house. And I knew I was onto something, because this seemed to be pretty universal. But then I said, oh my God, is the universe telling me to start a business doing something I hate? That's so counterintuitive. But indeed, that's what it was. So I thought, you know what? The cleaning business, the cleaning industry could use a bit of a shake-up. I have this business education. Now I'm a customer service expert because of my 3 months working at the Keg. But all joking aside, I learned a ton working at the Keg. They are so good with customer service. And I applied those things to a business plan that I prepared. Took me a couple of weeks. And I drove over to visit my uncle, who is my business mentor. And I pitched him the business plan in his dining room. It was kind of like a family version of Dragon's Den. And he listened intently, and he loved the business plan. And the first question that he asked me, and I'm laughing because this is just such a turning point in my life. The first question that he asked me as soon as I was done, he said, so who's going to do the cleaning? And I was like, Uncle Larry, didn't you hear my business plan? I'm going to hire experienced cleaners. And thank goodness for mentors who are willing to call you out on things and not sugarcoat them. Because my uncle said to me, listen, if you're going to be successful in your business, you will do the cleaning. In fact, you'll do every job in your business because you have to learn it from the ground up. So I had to look deep within myself and the toilet bowl and decide if I was cut out for this. The next thing I knew, I went to Canadian Tire. I pretty much bought out the cleaning aisle. And then I went and took out DVDs and books from the library because there was no other way to learn about how to clean at the time. YouTube did not exist. And I had to learn the art and science of cleaning. I had to apply myself entirely to this subject matter. And what I did, I learned everything about cleaning, but not from the perspective of someone who loved it. I hated doing it, but I was going to start a business where time was money and reputation was everything. So I had to figure it out. And that's what I did. My mom obviously loved all of the free cleaning that she was getting at home. She also had no problem critiquing my work, which at times was helpful and other times just downright annoying. But I ended up putting my training plan together and I learned so much myself, and I'm really grateful that my uncle essentially told me I needed to do all of the cleaning. It wouldn't have allowed my business to grow and flourish had I not. So within a few months of quitting my job and working at the keg, we're talking about end of 2006, I was able to take on my first client. I built the business up, and then in 2008, we all remember what happened then, and I thought, oh my gosh, a global recession. Who needs cleaning right now? My business is going to close. And in fact, my business grew 5-fold that year. It was our single biggest growth year in the history. We haven't seen that again. It was unbelievable. And that maxim, people hate cleaning, but they love a clean space, proved to be true. Even in tough financial times, cleaning was a good business to be in. Now, my now husband, then boyfriend, his name is Chad, he had sold his business by then. His biggest client had hired him on, and he was in sort of the marketing, web, SEO space. So he helped me build my website, put my marketing collateral together. And that's how he helped me in the business in those early days. I want to share some of the challenges that I faced as a young entrepreneur. Not all of starting a business is lovely, and I think we all know that. And when you're young, you kind of get your MBA on the streets. You certainly don't get it in school. I had to grow up pretty quickly as a 24-year-old entrepreneur with work experience tallying part-time jobs during school, 3 months at the keg, and 1 year to the day working at a bank in a very junior position. The first really, really difficult thing that happened to me was early on in my business. An amazing cleaning person forged a check at one of our clients' homes, deposited it in the bank, and essentially stole money. It was really, really awful. The client called. The evidence was all there. I mean, there was video footage of her cashing the check at the bank. Her handwriting was on the check. It was so obvious. And I was really angry. I thought, how could she betray me? I offered her this job. Look what I'm giving to her. And any time one finger points at someone else, 3 are pointing back at you. And I had to look at myself and say, what did I do wrong here? And what I did wrong was I hired someone on a whim because they said they were good at cleaning, and I saw their work and I thought they were pretty good too. I didn't want a background check or reference check just in case it wasn't going to work out, which of course it didn't. So having that experience taught me that I need to be absolutely steadfast about my hiring practices, and that has informed the way that we hire and the way that we have built our business since then. So that terrible experience I'm grateful for, because it was a learning moment for me. Another really frightening experience that happened early on was I hired what I would call essentially the messiah of sales and marketing and accounting. She came to me and I thought, oh my God, I've been rescued from all the things I don't like doing. I hate doing accounting. I don't have time to do this job and that job. And she just said, I'll come in and I'll take care of all of it for you. And I thought, wow, I feel like a VIP. I feel like I'm in an all-inclusive resort in my own business. It was so easy to go to work every day. And she would always tell me our numbers are great, our sales are great, and it just felt really easy. Until I was on a cruise and in the middle of the Caribbean Ocean, and I logged in on Carnival's very crappy cruise ship internet to check my emails, and I found out that it was the first pay period after Christmas and New Year's, and any person who does payroll knows that is the hardest one of the year. You've got 3 stat holidays in there. It is expensive. And what happened was, she told me that we had no money in our bank account. Now, this is the same person who asked me to take out a $20,000 credit card loan that was 0 interest for 6 months because we could just use the money for marketing. And very quickly while I was on the cruise ship, I realized, oh my God, we are completely insolvent. And I had to take money out of a personal line of credit using that terrible internet, transfer it into our bank account. And by the time we got back from that cruise, I learned everything that was going on in that business. We hadn't paid our bills in about a year. We hadn't paid our HST. We hadn't paid our corporate taxes. We had no money. It was a huge cleanup job. And again, I was so angry at her, but I realized it was actually me that made the mistake. I'm the steward of my business. I have to take care of it. So from then on, I learned that I always have to keep my finger on the pulse of my business, even if I delegate my work out to other people. So that was a very valuable lesson for me to learn. It was very difficult, but I'm glad that I went through those experiences, because I'm sure all of you can agree the easy stuff is easy, but it's the tough stuff that helps us become better at what we do. So now that you have an idea of my business beginnings, I'm going to explain to you how we got on YouTube, because that was entirely accidental. So in 2011, my husband and I were busy planning our wedding, and he suggested that I make YouTube videos as a way to build our website traffic up. Because at that time, Google had just bought YouTube, but YouTube was just this place where you could find makeup tutorials and watch cat videos. There wasn't much else going on there. But my husband said, look, just put them up. What's the worst that can happen? So we set up a really bad camera. We barely had any editing experience. I was not comfortable on camera at all. But we started to put these little videos out. Cleaning question, cleaning answer. And we always took the approach, my approach was always the same. I hate cleaning, but I want to find the easiest and most effective way to do it. And slowly but surely, we started to build out this little community of subscribers to our channel, of people who wanted to learn more and more about cleaning. And the funny part was, like, they were geeking out about cleaning on a YouTube channel where the person on the channel admitted that they couldn't stand doing it, but I was still there to support them. And to this day, that's the philosophy that I use. I'm open, I'm honest, I'm transparent about how I feel about cleaning. People think it's hilarious, they love it. But at the end of the day, I'm there to be their cleaning expert and help them get the information they need so that they can clean and then move on to do the more enjoyable things in their life. So today our YouTube channel has over 1.7 million subscribers, over 230 million video views. We've got a heavily trafficked website. We've got a really, about 110,000 Instagram followers, a really pathetic TikTok account, but hey, if you're on TikTok, you can find us there. A best-selling book that came out with Penguin Random House in 2017. I've worked with some of the biggest brands in the world, Procter & Gamble, Dyson, Scotch-Brite, Arm & Hammer, to name a few. And I am what you would call one of the original cleanfluencers. And that is how it happened. It was sort of this accidental thing that turned into something bigger. So as our channel grew in 2013, my husband quit his job. He became our full-time editor, web guy, content guy. Like, running a digital business was something we just had to figure out on the go because it was so fresh and so new. I was still working full-time in my cleaning service company and then filming videos at night. But eventually that got overwhelming. And then in 2019, I just decided, forget it, I'm hiring a COO for the service business. And that's what I did. And I'm really grateful that I hired Jason, our COO, and I'll talk more about what he's done in a little bit. But that allowed me to spend more time doing digital work and work on our products business, which we started in 2015 after me continually talking about microfiber cleaning products on my YouTube channel, and people were like, where can I get these great microfiber cleaning products? And I wasn't happy with the ones that regular consumers could go and pick up in store, because mine were from a janitorial supplier and they were superior quality and they were getting the best results. So I decided to start my own line of cleaning tools, and now we have our very robust line of microfiber cleaning products that we've had since 2015, and that business is so much fun. I really love it. It's called Makers Clean, and we're really proud of it. And in 2015, we got really busy with the products business and all of the sponsored work and the digital stuff that we were taking on. So my husband said, hey, why don't we hire my best friend? He can help us shoot and edit video part-time. I thought, sure. And now that best friend, many years later, works with us in a full-time capacity, doing not only that, but he manages both of our websites, our sponsored programming, and he also helps run the day-to-day of our products business. I also have an assistant, and we've recently hired a community manager to help with social media, which honestly is a full-time job in and of itself. So we're a small, nimble team, but we really love what we do. And the next time you Google how to clean a toilet, you'll probably see my face there waving a toilet bowl brush, and you have my team and the Google algorithm to thank for that. But I want to talk about this past year, because everything I'm telling you is lovely, but this past year has not been great. All of my businesses faced a varying amount of challenges. My cleaning service company obviously faced the worst. It was about a year ago, coming up to it on the 13th, where I learned that I'd have to lay off 25 people and tell them I wasn't sure when they'd be able to come back to work. I didn't know if there would be work for them to come back to. I didn't know if we'd be able to reopen or how long any of this was going to go on. That uncertainty that I know you know as well, it was just really, really difficult. So in 2019, the COO that I hired, he and I worked together to really reduce a lot of our expenses. We made some difficult decisions. We moved from an office to a co-working space. We streamlined a lot of our operations. So having such a reduced overhead made it a lot easier to be slim during those months where we were shut down from May to June, and then of course from December until just this past Monday. And it's been really tough. Like even when we reopened in June, our revenue was about 30 to 40% of what it was normally, obviously dealing with a lot of hesitancy from clients, and you know, it's understandable. And then in December, at the end of December, when we had to go back into lockdown, you know, it was only this past Monday where we were able to reopen to all of our clients and offer them service. What I will tell you is that my staff have been amazing and understanding and patient, and they want to work. I think at the beginning there was a bit of, you know, oh, okay, I'll take it easy, but now they are itching to get back to work, and I like seeing that. And our clients too, they're so understanding. Many of them used to have this zero margin for error personality. You know, their expectations were 100% all the time, and they should be. But what I found with the pandemic, first of all, they're so happy to support a small and local business. Second, they're much more forgiving. If we have to cancel or if someone's running late, they understand. And they're just a lot kinder. You know, when we talk on the phone, they really take their time to ask how we're doing. We do the same back to them. And they do the same to our staff. Everyone's been very respectful in terms of maintaining distance and taking care of each other. It's actually been a really nice thing to see and a really welcome change. I'm really happy to see it. I also have to say that we survived using the 3 C's of the government programming, the CEBA, the CSRS, and the SUS. Without that, honestly, we would not be able to have made it through this past year. We also used the downtime to revamp our website and fix any of the issues that we were having with our software, rejig a few of our policies. We took our hiring and our training entirely online, which is a huge savings for us. Essentially, we took on all of the projects we said we would do, but never had time to do. You know when you always say, oh, I need to take time to work on my business instead of in my business? Well, a lot of this lockdown time or this reduced activity time in business has given us the opportunity to do that. And I'm really glad that we've had the opportunity to do this overhaul, because even though our revenues have been painfully low, we are poised for a very successful comeback. And when we do come back, we're lean, we're mean, and we're way more profitable. And for that, I'm very grateful. And I do have 100% faith that our business will reopen. I mean, it's open now, but will kind of get back up to where it was before and then surpass that. Because like I thought in 2006, I still believe it today. People hate cleaning, but they love a clean space. And it's my job as a marketer, and your job as a marketer, as a business owner, or someone who works in a business, to explain to your customers or clients why they can't live without what you offer. And if you can do that, they'll of course want you back. And I think for me, until Elon Musk gets involved in the cleaning space and comes up with some sort of battery-powered cleaning robot, I'm going to be okay. My products company has also faced its own unique challenges this year that were completely unprecedented and unpredictable. Anyone who brings product in from overseas, I know you know what I'm about to say. There has been a global shipping crisis where inventory is just all over the place and it is not coming overseas the way at the speed it needs to. So we had inventory ordered and ready to arrive. It was our largest order ever for Makers Clean at the beginning of December. So we had a huge Black Friday sale. Black Friday is always our best day of the year. Had a huge Black Friday sale, and oh, there's a fly. And what happened was we did what we're supposed to do on Black Friday. We got rid of the majority of our inventory. And then we found out there was a shipping delay, and then another one, and another one. We have about 200 pieces in our warehouse right now. We should have tens of thousands. Our revenues have just about stalled. We literally cannot sell anything. And we've just had to be transparent with our customers and tell them what's going on. And here's the thing, our audience, our customers, they're understanding. They like what we offer. They love our products. They support who we are. They want to support small business. And through being transparent, through using Instagram, which is how I communicated all of this to them, they said, we're on board. We understand. We want to help you, and we're willing to wait. And that was a beautiful thing. We really appreciate that. I did find out last night around 10 p.m. that our stuff finally made it on a boat. It's going to be here at the beginning of April, and I can't wait. Now, our digital content business has had a nice year. I mean, if anything's having a moment right now, it's cleaning. The challenge is that a lot of people have been home during the pandemic and they've been trying new things. Some people have gotten themselves on TikTok and are dumping 10 things into a toilet bowl, and that's not the way that you clean. So my job, and what I've really dug my heels in about this year online, being a presence in the cleaning space, an expert in the cleaning space, is always providing true, responsible, and well-researched information so that people know they can see whatever they want to see on TikTok, but when they come to me, they're going to get reliable information that they can trust. And that has helped cement my position as a cleaning expert online as well as in the traditional media space. And through all of this, I realized that I haven't even told you the most important part yet, that I'm a mom to the, oh, I'm gonna cry again. I feel emotional, to the most delightful little girl. Her name is Riley. She just turned 3. And over this past year, I have had to relearn what it means to be a mom. Because when the pandemic hit, my daughter had just turned 2, and I was freaking out. We couldn't send her to daycare. I had these 3 businesses that I needed to deal with. We were just hit with all of this new information. And I had to figure out how to be a mom and how to be a business owner at the same time. And there were a lot of times where I had to deprioritize my business to be present for my daughter. And even now, she went back to daycare in July. Everything's been wonderful there. But you know, we don't go to swimming anymore. We don't go to gymnastics anymore. So on weekends, we've had to rethink the way that we are as a family, the way that we play together, the creative things that we do. And had the pandemic not hit, we would never, my husband and I would have never learned how to be that way as parents. And that is something, if I'm looking for a silver lining, I mean, it's hard to find, but if I'm looking for a silver lining, that would be one of them. I also learned how to bake banana bread. So there's another one. Now, as women, it feels like we have to do it all. We've got to run businesses and care for others, care for our families, care for ourselves, manage, co-manage a home, try to get our kids educated and motivated to learn, try to look good, try to stay sane, try to stay connected with our friends and family, even though we can pretty much only do it the way we're doing it right now. And then we have to feel good enough to wake up and try it again tomorrow morning. It's a lot to ask. I know that I've been seeing and feeling the cracks in my own foundation, and every other woman I talk to has told me the exact same thing. So I'm going to tell you a few things that I've learned over this past year running a service business, a products business, a digital content business, being a mom, being a wife, being an entrepreneur. I'm going to kind of sum it up for you in a few lessons in trying to keep it all together. The first one is to lower your expectations. And I love this one. It was a hard one to swallow because yes, your house is going to look messier. Your kids and probably you will be on screens more than you would like to be. Your clothes probably won't fit as nice. Your business probably won't have as good a year as you would like it to. But that's okay. If you can temporarily give yourself that permission to lower your expectations, life all of a sudden seems a lot more easy. Next up, social media is the way that people shop, learn, and connect. I thought our social media game was good. We have had to constantly up it throughout this pandemic, and that is teaching me that having a presence online and always improving it is key to being resilient and successful in a time like this and going forward. This is now how people are. So if you're not on social media, find a way to get there. We as women are great connectors. We're great at sharing stories. And that's really what people want. And the one thing you'll hear constantly about social media time and again is that audiences convert to customers. So figure out how to do it. Next, use your downtime to re-envision what your business can look like. I shared with you earlier how I used some of that downtime that felt so unfortunate to rejig and rethink the business, especially the service business, and that has made a huge difference for us. So if you're noticing that business is slow or you have some downtime, please don't use that time unwisely and use it to rethink, restructure, rejig your business so that you can really be poised for a wonderful recovery and a wonderful comeback. Be real, be transparent, and be kind. Everyone is having their own version of a tough time right now, and I don't say this to be a Debbie Downer, but it's true. Everyone's having a tough time, and I think if we can recognize that and share from personal experience and also be open and willing to hear from others, it helps us have a more meaningful and authentic connection with them when we're chatting. And I think because of the lack of physical connection, that increased personal one-on-one connection we can have through the way that we share is really valuable and really good for our hearts. Self-care, that's my next point. I've never spent more time and money on self-care than I have this past year, and I really wish I could tell you it was on the latest facial treatment or massage or manicure. But when I say self-care, I'm talking like more therapy sessions, more online programs to help me manage my mental health, more books, more online Reiki, whatever I have to do to feel better, I'm spending money on it because me feeling good is the most important thing so I can be present as a mom, a wife, a business owner, and more. And finally, celebrate every win and count every blessing. Those two things give us hope to move forward each day. So they say that calm waters don't make for a skilled sailor. And for us, I think it's more like we've been given a canoe in a tsunami. We've had a lot to learn this year. We've been through a lot. But what I would say is please use every experience, every learning that you've had to poise yourself for the best possible recovery because it's coming and I know you can do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa, and congratulations to you and your husband, Chad, and your amazing team. And thank you for sharing your personal story today. I do admit I am one of your 1.7 million followers, and I do hate to clean but love a clean house. It has also been an absolute pleasure in meeting you today. Before you go away, I would just like to give you some flowers. When we put the call out for nominations, we received many people who wanted to recognize the role that our speaker today, the Honorable Christine Elliott, Deputy Premier, Minister of Health, and MPP of Aurora, Newmarket, has taken throughout the pandemic and in her role, both as Deputy Premier and the Minister of Health. We felt that warranted a special recognition of her hard work and dedication, and we want to recognize that with a video we have prepared. Also, one of our nominees, Dawn Gallagher, Minister Elliott's constituency officer manager, who has also been working diligently and tirelessly along Minister Elliott, and so today we want to recognize both of them.
It does give me great pleasure to announce that our government will introduce the Connecting People to Home and Community Care Act 2020. This year, we have invested $2.5 billion more in our hospitals. Our government is investing $175 million in 131 hospitals across the province of Ontario through the Health Infrastructure Renewal Fund. To do something to improve conditions for people, I needed to run for political office. So that's what got me started, and many of those issues continue to be really important to me.
It is my pleasure to announce the Honorable Christine Elliott, Deputy Premier, Minister of Health, and MPP of Newmarket, Aurora.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for that wonderful video introduction. That's very, very kind of you to have done that. And it is a pleasure to be with all of you today to honor and celebrate the accomplishments of women in Newmarket. As your local MPP, I have had the pleasure of getting to know many of you over the last few years, and I'm really so pleased that we have the opportunity to highlight the impact of the many incredible women in our community. So thank you, Kelly, Tracy, and everyone at the Newmarket Chamber of Commerce for finding a safe way for us to move forward with this great event, and for inviting me to speak to such an incredible group of women. Now more than ever, it is important that we recognize the critical role that women play in our community. This has been especially clear in our fight against COVID-19, where women have been unwavering in their commitment and efforts to keep people safe and lead Ontario towards a brighter future. From public health experts, researchers, and frontline healthcare workers, to small business owners, entrepreneurs, and caregivers, many of you have gone above and beyond to support our community during these very challenging times. And your actions, regardless of how big or how small they may seem, have a ripple effect that inspires more women, and in Newmarket and elsewhere, to continue to do the same, to reach out and connect with people. So thank you for being such strong female voices in our community, and for doing your part to not only keep Ontario and Newmarket safe in particular, but also to raise one another up. We know that much of Ontario's pandemic response and Newmarket's economic recovery depends on women. So as we celebrate the incredible contributions of women here in Newmarket, I want to be clear that our government will continue to support you and empower women and young girls to pursue their ambitions and to make sure that their voices are heard at the tables. So thank you, and I look forward to our discussion this afternoon.
Thank you, Minister Elliott, for joining us today for this conversation. We really appreciate it. You've been in a hugely public position in an unprecedented time of change, disruption, and uncertainty, and I'm sure that you have a lot to share with us today. It really is meant to be a conversation, so please share as much as you're comfortable with us. We have prepared a couple of questions just to get the conversation started. So one of the things that we saw earlier today, we played and we'll play it again at the end of the day, was just a video about all of the women leaders in the world and here in our own community. And we've seen a surge in female leadership in government across the world, and yet overall, women are still underrepresented at all levels of decision making worldwide. I guess a couple of questions. How do you see that changing, and what is it going to take to achieve some level of parity, and why does it matter? So that's kind of a loaded question, but however you want to tackle that one for us.
Well, I'll start with why it matters first. It matters because we need to have perspectives of everyone in Ontario at policymaking tables. So we don't have an equal number of women to men. And that's really important because we see things differently, not better or worse, but we do see things, a number of things differently. And we need to have more women in leadership at the policy tables where decisions can be made. And so we need to really support each other, encourage more young women to get involved in politics. I know it seems quite daunting, and I suppose for any of you that bother to watch Question Period, I think you're pretty busy. You probably have better things to do. But for those of you that do, and you see Question Period, it probably seems pretty antagonistic and not at all friendly, and not something that you really see yourself getting involved in. But the reality is that the question period part of being an MPP is just sort of the tip of the iceberg. That's not really what the job is all about. You do have the opportunity to work with great leaders in your community to achieve great things in your riding, your constituency, but you also have an opportunity to have a voice at the table. And I would say that it's better to be in government than in opposition. I spent many years in opposition, but even then, you can be successful with private members' bills and other ways that you can try to become helpful in changing the things in Ontario that you want to change. But as a voice in government, of course, it's naturally easier. But I think a number of women also, besides finding it that it looks really antagonistic, some women feel that they can't do the job, that they don't know as much, that they wouldn't be able to do the job. And that's not the case at all. And some of you may have read Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In. It was written, I think, in 2013, speaking about how women often don't have the self-confidence, that they put themselves down too much, that instead of stepping back, you really need to lean in and become a part of the decision-making process and have confidence in yourself and your abilities. Because with all due respect to the gentlemen listening in on this call, that's not something that typically affects men nearly as much as women. So I think we need to step up and support each other, have more women become mentors in whatever it is, if it's business, if it's politics, whatever it happens to be. I've been asked by several of my younger colleagues who've just been elected for the first time to be a bit of a mentor to them, to help them with getting to know their job better, how to do things, how perhaps to be more effective. And I'm more than happy to do that because I think it's part of it is my responsibility to bring forward the next generation of decision makers, and we need more women to be part of that.
I think that's a really good point. And I think the other piece of that is just really the more women leaders we see, I think the more we're going to be confident and more apt to speak out. I mean, even I had no idea that there were that many world leaders that were women until I had seen that video. And I'm kind of ashamed of that because I kind of think I have a radar for it. But it was really encouraging to see that many women in leadership positions. And certainly that's why we have you here today as well, is just an inspiration to many people as a woman who has taken up such a leadership position here.
Well, it certainly wasn't something that I expected when I first became health minister, but it is, and it's certainly a huge challenge, but it also has great opportunities to help improve our healthcare system. There are some things that have happened as a result of COVID, the things that we've done in healthcare that I think are helping improve the system for patients and families going forward. And so once we're through the worst part of all of this, and I think we're on that pathway now with the 4 vaccines that are now available, we need to sit down and take stock of all of that at the Ministry of Health and keep the parts that we have moved forward with. Other parts well, I think we'll need to record how to deal with a pandemic in the future, because I hate to think that we'll have another one, certainly not one as bad as this, but I think we have to be ready for it. And again, it's part of my responsibility to help pave that way for ministers of health in years to come.
Thank you so much, Minister Elliott. That was a great answer. And, you know, in my own personal political career, I definitely reflected on a lot of the things that you said. And I agree, we absolutely need to stand up and mentor more women to join, you know, both the workforce and, you know, the political climate for sure. My question for you, can you describe yourself as a person? How have you changed and evolved over the last year that you've spent? And I guess it can only be described as a real pressure cooker for you.
Well, yes, there is a lot of stress with so many people falling to COVID, particularly really vulnerable residents, people in long-term care homes and retirement homes. It was tragic to see what happened to many of them. And you do feel that responsibility, no question about it. But my role is to take steps to ensure that we do what we need to do to protect people. And now that we're on the path to vaccinating everyone, to make sure that we have a system in place. And I'm very, very fortunate to be working with an excellent team of people, both in my office on the sort of as the elected representative side, but also the Deputy Minister of Health, Helen Angus, she's great and she has a fabulous team. And we've been working together since day one, since the day I was sworn in as a cabinet minister. And I consider myself very, very fortunate that I have the opportunity to work with her and her team. It's been quite seamless. And that doesn't always happen, but fortunately it did happen for us.
That's great. Well, here's a little easier one. You're on TV almost every single day. What is your secret and how do you put yourself together each day to prepare for that?
Well, some days I don't really look very together, but because usually that comes right after question period and you don't really have that much time to really get physically prepared for it, but it's the mental preparation that's the most important thing anyway. And so I'm always briefed before I go into question period, and then I'm briefed before we go in to do whatever announcement that we're going to do. And you just have to know the facts about what's happening and to be ready to answer the questions. But the press conferences are much different, of course, than they used to be, because it used to be they would sort of surround you as you came out of question period and you'd have sort of a microphone 3 inches from your mouth. Now, of course, they're all done via sort of video link. So I think that's better. I kind of like that happening in the future too. I'm not sure. I think it will probably continue in this way anyway. But you just have to know your subject. You have to be prepared and you have to anticipate what some of the questions are going to be and just try and make sure that you can speak calmly and knowledgeably about your subject, because I think it's also really important, especially in the early days of COVID, that people were looking for government leadership. They wanted to know that we were taking the necessary steps, and it was really important for us to not look less than calm, because people needed us to be that way. They expected it and needed it to be that way. So that's the way I approached it. And I always try to, because I want people to know that we are taking the necessary steps and we have matters in hand as much as one can during a pandemic.
It's a great answer. You do look calm and it does seem seamless. So you'll have to share those tips with us at some point. Minister Elliott, thank you so much for answering the question.
And I'm going to jump in on that one because you were talking about stress and remaining calm and asking for a friend, because I've had a lot of stress lately.
Yeah.
What are some of the tools you use to calm down and work through stressful situations?
Well, don't have a lot of time to deal with stress, but I think one of the important things is, and I should be following my own advice here, I'm doing better, but not great at it, is getting more exercise. I'm trying to get back into running. That's just a very good release for me. And just being outside is also very calming. So I'm trying to do better with that, especially with the weather getting nicer. But also I have two of my sons still living with me. And that's good because I can go home at night and I can speak with them. They won't be there too much longer. My sons are turning 30 this week. Many of you may know I have triplet sons, so they're 30, 30, and 30. So I'm feeling very old this week. But that helps as well because we can just talk through stresses, and I find that very calming as well.
It's kind of nice to leave your, the leadership of Ontario hat and go home and just, talk with those people that are closest to you. So I'm sure that does help. I know Melissa Maker talked about people taking up baking bread, and I've heard that you can't order glue off of Amazon right now because everybody's taking up crafts. So everybody's kind of doing a number of different things, I think, to cope. Some of us are dyeing our hair red, for example. I guess another piece that leaders are struggling with right now is how to keep teams motivated, remote workforce, and just how do you keep your team motivated despite conflicts and obstacles and maybe distance?
Well, first of all, we are working distantly. I go into Queen's Park every day because I'm there for a question period, and there's only 3 of us in my office right now, my chief of staff and the young man who helps me with my schedule and gets connected, helps me connect to all my technology. We're the only ones in the office. Everyone else is working remotely. But I'm working with a really incredibly dedicated group of people that really want to make a difference and are working together as a team because we still have, in addition to working through COVID and all the vaccination work that we have to do, there's still all of the other issues in the Ministry of Health that have to be dealt with. And that's about, hospital construction, financial position of hospitals, working with our stakeholders, with nurses, with doctors, personal support workers, all the other agencies that are involved. So there's a lot of work, and a lot of it intersects, and people having to work more closely in teams because we're trying to break down the silos in the Ministry of Health and making sure that everybody knows what everybody else is doing, because there are many connections there within the ministry, but also among ministries. So I work very closely with Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services, with the Ministry of Long-Term Care, Ministry of Solicitor General, because we're working together on the vaccination rollout. And my teams work with their other teams that in other ministries. But I would say that I just have a really dedicated group of people who really want to make a difference in making sure that our healthcare system works for patients and families. And that's my chief goal with the transformation that we started, that we're still working on, we started before COVID. But I think that COVID experience has shown us how much better the local Ontario health teams that have already been developed were able to deal with COVID in their local area, because they were already connected. They knew each other, they trusted each other, they knew where the gaps in service were, and they just went ahead and filled the gaps. So there are so many people working, not just on my team, but in health, on local Ontario health teams. It's very humbling to have a part in this, because it is a huge team effort.
That's true. And I think collaboration is key, as you've pointed out. And I have to say here, as our MPP, your constituency office is run like tip top. We get answers really quickly. And as one of the people sitting at the policy table, I'm really thrilled how quickly your office is getting back to us and responding to us, even despite all of the hurdles and challenges right now. So definitely that's happening.
Thank you. Dawn is doing a fabulous job. I'm very, very proud and fortunate to have to be working with Dawn as well as the other members of the constituency office staff.
Agreed.
Yes, Minister Elliott, Dawn is an absolute rock star, and we are so blessed to have you so close to home. The 2021 Women's Center mission is: a challenged world is an alert world, and from challenge comes change. Hashtag choose to challenge. What comes to mind when you hear that mission statement?
I agree with that. You know, there are, the last year has been incredibly challenging for everyone in Ontario. I know that it's been difficult for people to stay at home, to be isolated, to not see their family members. You know, I know some people have had grandchildren that they've maybe only seen over videos. Very, very hard for everyone. But I would say that for those of us working in the Ministry of Health, the challenge has brought opportunities for positive change. And as General Hillier, who is the commander of our vaccine task force, he often says that rare is the dark cloud that doesn't have a silver lining. And so out of all of this, we have found some silver linings, the value of the local Ontario health teams. The move towards digital services has happened much faster than we originally anticipated because people weren't able to get out. So we did change the codes for doctors to be able to bill for virtual visits, and that take up has been huge, and there's no turning back. I think now that it's out there that people can have those virtual appointments, virtual visits with specialists. They can, in many cases, now see their own health records, or will be able to very shortly. Those are all benefits that we want to keep. And the other big move that's happened is amongst all of the healthcare providers, they're working together in ways that they never have before. So home care is working with long-term care, is working with hospitals, because they're all congested right now. And so we need to work together. Hospitals are working together in a way that they haven't before. And we're taking much more of a regional approach to healthcare. And so with respect to the many thousands of surgeries and procedures that had to be postponed during the first wave of COVID, we're now trying to catch up on them. Some hospitals haven't been able to do that just because they have so many COVID patients right now, but others are. And we're looking at developing more of a regional wait list so that each hospital doesn't have their own long wait lists. And if there's space in other hospitals that perhaps could do some orthopedic surgeries, then, but others can't, then the surgeons can move back and forth to different hospitals to do that. That I think is really in the best interest of the patient. If it means that they're going to be able to get their hip and knee surgery done months earlier, that's what we want to see happen. We don't want to see people in pain, not being able to enjoy their family or go back to work. So I think that there's lots of positive spin-offs, and I could talk a lot about it, but we don't have that kind of time today. But there have been many positive things that have happened as a result of COVID that we're absolutely going to continue with.
I absolutely agree. It's definitely shone a light on a lot of, concerns and issues and things that, we didn't realize were an issue until now. And, I really have to thank you and your team for staying the course. Awful lot of work going on behind the scenes. It's more than you coming on and being on television and being briefed. You've got a lot of work that you're doing. You're looking ahead and you're forward thinking. And as much as it's unfortunate to say, we are preparing, for this to happen again. And I think it's really important that, you recognize that and that you brought the forefront, because it is absolutely a possibility. And it's rest assuring for us to realize that, you're thinking in those terms. So 2 more questions, really easy ones. So who would you look to for inspiration or mentorship?
I know that a lot of young women have mentors now, and I'd be happy to be a mentor to anyone that's contemplating political life. But back when I was making decisions for my own future, that didn't much happen. So I would say that who I looked up to really to want to do the things that I've been working on and trying to do was my mother. She was always very involved in volunteer activities in Whitby, where I grew up. She was the one that was always doing the heart and stroke canvassing and Cancer Society. Worked in the blood donor clinics when they still had volunteers to do that, and worked at our local mental health hospital in the clothing area. And she always stepped up to do her part, and she taught my sisters. I have 3 sisters. Taught us that we had a responsibility to give back to our community. And that's what really got me involved in politics in the first place, was my role as a volunteer before, and working on our Children's Treatment Center board and our local mental health board, hospital foundation, and so on. So I had a huge interest in health related issues and social service issues, people with disabilities. And I decided to step up and become involved in politics to try and make a difference there. So that's how I got into this position, even though I think you all know I don't have a healthcare background, but it has always interested me, and it's been something that I always wanted to do my part to give back.
That's excellent. And your mother sounds like an amazing woman. And I only learned today that you have 3 sisters. So that's very interesting. I share the same sentiment. You know, I really think it's important that, you know, you step up and you put your name on the ticket and you do those good things. You know, volunteering is great, but we really need more women to step up and make that commitment. Our final question today is, what would you say to inspire a young woman today?
I would say, don't let anything hold you back. To go ahead and follow your dreams and don't give up. Do things always happen exactly the way you'd want them to? No. They didn't in my case, that's for sure. I ran 3 times for the leadership of my party and lost, and lost, but I didn't give up. And I really think that having gone through that experience led me to where I am today. This is, I would say, I shouldn't say my dream job because it's not that dreamy right now, but really this is what I wanted to do. And so just don't let anything allow you to give up. Just keep going, follow your dreams. You don't want to be sort of at the end of your working years saying, I wish I would have done that, or I should have tried that. Do it, go for it. You will be successful. You will be happy. Follow your dreams.
Thank you so much, Minister Elliott, for being with us today and having this candid talk. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know you're very busy, and I just wanted to thank you once again for joining us.
It's been a true pleasure, and thank you to all you wonderful women of Newmarket. You're doing a special job and really making a huge, huge difference in our community. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Maria Charlandini, and I am truly honored to be here and be a finalist at this event. My role at Vince's Market is the cash administrator and the ambassador for community support. Daily, my days are filled with traveling from different Vince's locations to manage and balance the cash administration in each store. However, I'm more recognized for my community support ambassador role. Throughout my years as ambassador, the community support team has been able to sponsor numerous events and organizations. A few highlights are the Cedar Center Gala, NewRoads Girls Night Out, the SOS Support Our Shelters campaign, Random Acts of Vince's, and the Big Bike for Heart and Stroke, just to name a few. Another amazing initiative Vince's Market spearheaded is the community product, where customers are able to purchase a highlighted product and 15% of sales are given to an annual recipient at the end of the year. This program has raised over $70,000 to local organizations and also influences the grocery industry via the vendors to participate. This year, I'm excited, the South Lake Hospital Mental Health Campaign is our 2021st recipient. In the past 5 years, I've danced to support Easter Seals organization. I built a playground for a child in need with $1 Million Smiles Foundation. I've curled to raise money for the New Market Pantry, and I've purchased, cooked, and served a delicious meal for the In From the Cold homeless shelter. As a mother of 3 beautiful children, I take my ambassador role very seriously, and I know that each day I have an opportunity to make a difference. I am grateful to be in this position, and at the end of the day, I hope all my actions will inspire others like my children, the Vince's team, and our communities.
Hi everyone, I'm an independent financial advisor with Hollis Wealth Investia. I've been supporting locally in the Newmarket area for 30 plus years, both professionally and personally. I try to do my best to support local businesses, sport teams, local programs, and the charities that are in our area. I truly believe that giving back is what's necessary for everyone in our community. Whether it's collecting socks for those in need, organizing car parades for seniors during COVID, celebrating graduates in our community, doing secret door drops, being a community ambassador of positivity, or sitting on the board of the Newmarket Food Pantry, I truly believe that the smallest act of giving can sometimes have the greatest impact. I have followed in my father's footsteps of being a local business owner. Myself and my team continue to deliver client results with integrity and the highest level of customer engagement, all while still serving my community in whatever way possible. Hashtag choose to challenge. I challenge you to give back to your community. No act is too small. Give back, support local, and help those in need.
I am so honored to be a finalist for the Women of Excellence Awards. When I look at the list of names, I'm so gratified. So I'm a longtime journalist in the community, and some of you may recognize me, and I just have to say I'm much more comfortable writing about other people. So I'm finding this a bit of a challenge to talk about myself, but I came here in 1985. I loved Newmarket from the beginning and have made it my home with my husband and my 2 kids who are 24 and 28. So I decided to get involved in my community, and I began volunteering at organizations that make our community a better place for all of us, including Belinda's Place Foundation, the Character Community Foundation, York Region Abuse Program, and the United Way. I currently volunteer with Philip Hurst for a Sister campaign, Portraits of Giving, Triac Mentoring Partnership, and I'm a member of the 100 Women Who Care. In October 2019, I was on the Hugs for Hope team that raised funds for 2 local charities and crushed a world record for the most hugs by a team in an hour. It's only one of the many events that I've been involved in that made me realize how truly blessed I am to live in a community that cares.
Hi, I'm Ann Watson, Executive Director at In From the Cold for the past 5 years. With over 30 years experience working and volunteering in the not-for-profit sector, primarily with people living in poverty, I've learned to listen to and appreciate the difficulties that marginalized people face. I believe in the people I work with and strive for opportunities to help people reestablish themselves and to start getting ahead. The community of Newmarket is a remarkable partner in supporting people out of homelessness. From local, provincial, and federal government efforts to the business community and to children and youth who fundraise on behalf of In From the Cold, I believe this community is truly unique. I'm a firm believer in knowledge, engagement, and collaboration and strive to find creative solutions to complex social issues.
Wow, incredible videos. At this time, I'm going to bring each of the 4 finalists up in alphabetical order to accept their finalist certificate and flowers from the amazing Tracy. Maria Charlandini, Julianne Goyette, Hollis Wealth. Deborah Kelly, Newmarket Today. Ann Watson, In From the Cold. One more round of applause for our finalists. I certainly don't envy the judging committee. This is a very, very difficult decision. However, on behalf of the NewRoads Automotive Group, I would like to present the 2021 Woman of Excellence. And the award goes to Maria Charlandini. You should do it with a mask on.
Kelly doesn't have a mask on. Thank you. Yes. Okay, I just want to thank everybody for this. I am extremely grateful. To be honest, these 3 nominees, fellow nominees, I've worked with them. They're amazing community leaders, and I feel so grateful to be part of this group. So in honor of my 2 daughters, my mom, and all of us together as women, thank you so much.
I lost track. Tracy, your turn or my turn?
Oh, I think we can wrap it up here. Congratulations, Maria, and congratulations to all our finalists. Amazing. They're all doing so much in our community. I want to thank Kelly and NewRoads for presenting this event with us, for being partners in this and making this happen. I want to thank the Newmarket Chamber of Commerce staff again. All of them stepped up to do so much for this event to make it happen, and the theater staff who were our orchestrators, and Tyler behind the scenes. I was trying not to mention this earlier because I was feeling emotional this morning when I was looking back on pictures from last year's event, and I was afraid I was going to get teary-eyed too early on. But last year, the Women of Excellence Awards was the last event that we held before the world shut down and we couldn't have any more face-to-face events. So as I was looking at the pictures of us hugging and just the theater full and all of the things happening, I started just to get a little, caught up in the moment. So I really did want to mention it without getting too emotional today. So I did leave it to the end. And I really do hope that we'll be able to gather again in person sometime this year. I mean, we're making strides and it's looking that way, and we're hoping that that's what will happen. I want to thank all of you who are on the Zoom call today and those that are here with us for your support of the Chamber, of the community, of this event. I want to thank our sponsors again. Because of their generosity, we're able to donate the money from all of the ticket sales of today's event to the Women's Centre of York Region. The expenses were covered otherwise, so the ticket sales, all of the ticket sales money can go to the Women's Centre of York Region, so just over $4,000 will be going to the Women's Centre to help support their work. So thank you for that. Thank you for joining us, and now I'll turn it over to Kelly to wrap up.
Thank you, Tracy. And thank you to each and every one of you for celebrating women's achievements today. And just a reminder, never underestimate the power you have to take your life in a new direction. Life is not about expecting, hoping, and wishing. It's about doing, being, and becoming. So let's not just celebrate International Women's Day today or this week. Let's celebrate it every day. Thank you once again for joining us.
And Kelly, we're going to roll that video one more time.
Oh, yes.
In case anybody missed it.
We're going to roll the 2-minute video of all of our local community leaders.